Hello and welcome everybody here on this YouTube channel. It's Bitcoin Today time, and yeah, we are talking about Bitcoin and all the topics around the Bitcoin topic. And with me is Udo Amend. Udo.
Hello.
Hello. And today is really a special occasion because I have to look. It's the 10th of March of 2009 that this channel was founded, that you started making some videos on this channel. Nowadays you almost have like 2 million views and 54,000 channel members. It's amazing.
Yes.
And all this time there was no introduction to Udo himself, like to you and who are you, what brought you to Bitcoin, what is your philosophy, what is your thinking behind this channel. Explain us a little bit. Who are you? Where are you from? What brought you to this moment here, and what brought you to Mallorca?
Yeah, first of all, I started with very beginning. I started with Bosch in Germany, and for 3 years I got an education as electromechanic, very simple thing. And I wanted to study, which was not possible because I was not good at school. So I decided to leave Germany at the age of 19, and I went to Ireland because it was much easier. I wanted to study electrical engineering, and it was possible for me to do it there. And well, I finished and got my first job in Shannon in Ireland, which was Molex, a huge American company, and I started as an electrical engineer. But pretty soon they asked me, do you want to go into sales and marketing? Also my English was quite good after I started there, plus I spoke native German. And they asked me, do you want to go to the United States, into a headquarter which was located, or still is today, in Chicago. And I said, yeah, why not? I was alone and I was free to do, so I went. And
they are connected to the car industry, I think.
Yes,
yeah?
Molex is up until today one of the biggest supplier for harnesses and cables and all this thing in the car, and as a supplier for the car industry, yes. And so they asked me also to work in sales and marketing, and so I worked in sales and marketing in the US. And then they came to me and said, well, you're young and we have this program of developing young people, and every 2 years they selected 30 people from the world. Do you want to do it, and then to work for us in the following 10 years, make a contract and that type of, we invest in you and you give it back.
Well, you give commitment to work for them.
Give a commitment back to them, basically. That's what it was. And I said, well, I do it. So they said, well, you go to Harvard University and you study. And I said, well, fine, we do this. And I finished and I made my master in business and administration. And then they offered me the first real job. They said, go to South Africa. They needed at that time an assistant managing director. There was a director, but they needed assistant. They wanted to have someone coming from the headquarters. The reason a lot of people don't know, because there are two very big facilities. There's BMW and Volkswagen in Port Elizabeth in South Africa. And Molex had a very big factory as well, so we had only 2 customers, these two, which was a lot of business. So I did this for a couple of years, and contract was over. I went back to Europe, and then they offered me a job as Director of Sales and Marketing Europe, and I did this, and I traveled. I was only flying around from one plant to the next. It was only the car industry. And in the age of about 35, 36, I was pretty finished. I had a burnout because it was too much. I mean, the education and the work, and the pressure was high. I mean, they paid well, but the pressure was high.
And flying all over the world.
Only, sometimes 3 flights a day, you know, within Europe, you know, and you just meet on the airport, that type of thing. So anyway, I decided to give up and go my own way, and I did. And I started my own company in the same area. And yeah, so, and in 2017, to make a big step now, I sold. And then I decided with my wife to leave Germany because also of age. And we said, well, we want to live in the sun, and Mallorca is the best place in Europe, best island probably in the world. So we decided in 2019 to buy a house, and we came here in the middle of pandemic, which was in 20 with our dogs, and since then we live here and we enjoy very much the life here.
And now you searched for a new adventure. Yeah, after selling your company, after a very successful business life, now you searched for a new challenge. There is a passion, music,
yes,
that you always carry on.
Yes.
You are also a very strategic person. You like playing chess.
Yes.
And then there is Bitcoin. Like, is this like an adventure for you, like a strategy, or what is it? What gets you about Bitcoin?
Well, as you just said, I started the channel in March 2009, 15 years ago, and bear in mind, the first Bitcoin was mined on the 5th of January in 2009.
Like you were really one of the very first.
I was a so-called early adopter,
yeah,
certainly. I didn't own any Bitcoin at the time because Bitcoin was zero. There was no value of Bitcoin. Now, the reason was, as I grew up in a US company, I learned to think strategically, because there's one thing with Americans, and which is the big difference to the European companies. They think very much ahead, and they have long-term plans, and they really invest. It's called human resources. They have directors of human resources where they do a lot of things Europe never did in this way, and I gained out of this as well. So I learned all this, and I remember when I got my first personal computer, it was from IBM, which was early 80s. I think it was 15,000 D. I didn't buy it because they bought it, but it was a huge thing, you know.
Yeah.
But this was a big game change, because before you had the mainframes, all of a sudden you had a PC, and you could work with Excel and all that type of thing. So I experienced this as a big revolution, and then the second revolution I experienced was the late 90s when the internet came. And the interesting thing was that in March 20 we had this bubble burst of a .com, and media said, well, we don't need internet, nobody needs the internet, nobody needs Amazon.
It's over.
It's over, it's over, exactly. And we all know what happened today.
Yeah.
I mean, Amazon at that time was sort of bankrupt, Apple was bankrupt, had to be bailed out by Bill Gates and stuff like this. And today, these are the biggest companies in the world. And so I saw over a long period that the narrative between what media tells you and reality, there's a huge gap in between. And I had a lot to do with the cyberpunks, because when I was in the US at that time, cryptographic solutions for data transfer and for value transfer was a big issue already in the 60s, in the late 60s and early 70s. It was called cyberpunks, and it was highly reputed mathematical and physical people thinking about how to transfer value, because the problem with the internet is everybody can copy. I mean, with your mouse, left click, and that's it. So if you want to transfer value, and this is when everybody talks about tokenization, which is the future, by the way, you need cryptographic chiffring and dechiffering. And I learned a lot about. Also, I have this physical background. When you study electrical engineering, it's a lot of mathematics and
the
physics.
Mindset, yeah.
Yeah, it's part of me. I mean, obviously, you can't study without that. So I had a very, very early entry to this thing, and then I heard it was in January, and I heard first a Bitcoin, and there was this pizza business. A guy bought a pizza, and he paid 30,000 Bitcoin for one pizza. This is the big story. But it really took place because still on the blockchain you can see it. So anyway, so I thought, what is this? Satoshi Nakamoto, probably it was the cyberpunks, a group of people, you know. Maybe they were scared about political implications which could happen to them, so they said, no, maybe we don't want to be
we don't want to be the face of this thing.
We don't want to be face of it, so I think this is what it was. But anyway, so I looked and I said, well, this is really, really interesting. And I was in YouTube at that time already, I have to say. So I said, well, I'll make a channel, only in English, because I was totally in English. I spoke in my life more English than German because of education and all that type of thing. And so I made this channel only in English, and I hid it away. I didn't talk to anyone about it because I said, oh, they don't take me serious when you talk about Bitcoin. Because everybody was laughing about Bitcoin. And I did this for a long time only in English, and then something crazy happened. It was in 2017. All of a sudden, the Bitcoin jumped from $650, I think it was in 9 months, to $19,000.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, everybody was talking about the Bitcoin. And I on my channel, it was still only English, and I still didn't say anything to anyone about it because no, I don't want to have anything to do with it. And my friends and everybody was talking about Bitcoin, how rich they get, and I said, no, I have nothing to do with it, you know.
I know,
I want to stay a part of it, you know.
Yeah.
And but I saw what's going on there. And since then, I had it always on the screen. But then we had other issues because in 19 we left Germany and we sold everything, and pandemic. And then 2 years ago, I decided, well, because I'm on the financial market in general for a very long time, and on the stock market, so I said, well, I decided I make this channel bilingual in German and English, and I was looking for help, external help to build quant models and mathematical models to understand better what's going on with Bitcoin, because I didn't know much about it. I mean, I followed it since 2009, but I didn't really understood the rules. And I'm you know, I want to know how things work. You know,
you need the tools to work.
I want to know this. So I was looking, and I found Alejandro. And Alejandro, he studied mathematics, and his wife, she's professor here on the university. And so big thing started, and for 1.5, 2 years, we built it up a website. A girl came in called Pia, web design. She's doing a great job, because I said we build up a website, and we build up models, and we communicate with on YouTube. Well, and now we have, since a couple of days, our new, very nice podcast studio. And so, yeah, why do I do this now? A lot of people write me emails because of this. Yeah, the reason is I have this idea of coming up in April, May with an app, which is a combined thing of all our knowledge we have over 2 years. And you can download it in the App Store or Google Play. It will be free of charge for a long time. Maybe we will come up with a pro version. People have to pay a little bit of money, but in the beginning it will be free of charge. Because I have a lot of followers, and I guess it will get more. And so this is the vision I have, and why I do this, more or less. Yeah.
Yeah, and you already told us for a long time you were like hiding from the topic because it was so unsure. Then you committed, and then all the world was like scared of the topic. And now we got the approval. Bitcoin is the first digital commodity that's ever been made,
yeah.
And this is a step for the security for the investors and for the market. And we talked last week, you said everybody's expecting like a blowout of transactions, but you said you are expecting like a slow market, and this is what actually happened. Why?
Yeah, well, I speak about this issue, what is going to happen after approval, since at least 6 months, because it started, I think, 6-8 months ago that the applications were coming up, 13 wealth management companies. And so the question was in the room, what's going to happen if approval comes? And here's something we have to talk about. It's the digital currency group, Grayscale, which is the biggest Bitcoin trust in the world. And they own 630,000 Bitcoin, the biggest player in the market, US. And this is a trust. And for more than 10 years, we were fighting with the government in the United States that they want to change the trust into an ETF, that people can not only go in, they also have a door out, which you don't have according to American law. And so it was traded with discount, sometimes 30-40% discount to the spot price. So a lot of people are sitting on these trust shares, and the minute, and it happened now, the change came, they say, well, I bought it with 30% discount. I sell it, I have a 30% profit.
Yeah.
Plus they had probably the evolution of the price and all that. So, and this is what I anticipated for a long time. I said there will be a lot of profit taking from the investors in Grayscale. The second is Bitcoin itself went from 15.5 to 49. A lot of people say, well, thank you, I take the chips from the table. I'm happy with this. This is the one side. The other side is we had an inflow of $1.8 billion in the first day when the approval came, which is a lot of money, but it was compensated from the outflow. So all in all, it's good for the market because, I mean, it was really hot. I mean, in a very short time, we went up. And it's a consolidation now, and I believe this will go on up until the halving, because a lot of people sit on the sideline with money. They say maybe the price goes more down, I can buy cheaper, so they don't invest. This is what it is. So they wait. The big question is, because up until now we had only retail investors, because the institutional investment pension funds were not allowed to buy. Yeah. This is a very important thing, but they sit now here and they can now and they wait. They will all come, I'm pretty sure.
And also you are talking about the way up for Bitcoin, but as you already told, there's like a regular flow of up and downs. So there will be a down point after the highest point. So there is still chances to buy cheap.
Well,
or cheaper.
Bitcoin has 4-year cycle. 200. Just to explain quickly, Bitcoin means in 4 years, every 10 minutes a block has to be validated from the miners. So all the transactions are written in a block. Block has to be validated in order to be connected to the last block. They have to be linked. The minute they are linked, you cannot change anything. This is the big advantage. Nobody in the world can change a validated block. This is why the name blockchain. Every 10 minutes a new
chain of blocks
block
getting added on.
And the thing is that this is a 4-year cycle, and every 4 years the reward for the miners is cut by 50%. So there are a lot of regulation which leads that you see sinus waves up and down. Plus, there is something which is called Wyckoff theory, which has nothing directly to do with a Bitcoin, which is, we can make a special video about this. This is something which was discovered by Wyckoff 100 years ago, that some assets, scarce assets, have evolution of distribution and accumulation. It's called distribution and accumulation cycle, which is a sinus cycle. Why? Because the big players were interested that the price goes up. Once the top is reached, they want to make money on the short side, and once the bottom is reached, they accumulate, they buy cheap. But this is not a cycle in weeks and months. This is a cycle of 4 years.
4 years,
it's basically 2 and 2. What you can say is 2 up, 2 down. It's not quite like this. Go on our website. It's very nice explained, because Bitcoin moves in 9 quarters, and it's a bit more than what I say now mathematically, but more or less that's what it is. So meaning when you come to the peak will be in December 25, because a new cycle starts now, around about December 25. It's a good time to sell, and either not to do anything or to go short or whatever, because I'm pretty sure with the ETFs, short products will come as well. This is also something new. Up until now, you buy Bitcoin or not. Yeah, there is a future market, which is about 20 billion in the moment, but market capitalization is 800 billion. So the future market is very little. So going short is not a big thing. But the short business will become much bigger, because when you look at gold, for example, you can buy gold long or short via BlackRock ETF Spider. That's the name of it. Gold Spider. So this will come as well. So people, this is why I think it's good that we come up with an app and explain to people, look, it's like a weather app, no? Weather report, Bitcoin, no. But here we talk long-term cycle.
Long-term, yeah. And obviously, as Udo just demonstrated, data and knowing the market and knowing the movements is essential to trading and understanding Bitcoin. And I think now it's a good time to go to the data from the website, and Udo will explain the settings and the status of today. And afterwards we will be back here again and talk about the short time and middle term expectations. Yeah? Okay, let's go to the data.
The data, first, the Bitcoin trades in the moment 43,192 US dollar. I opened the candles on a 4-hourly base, so each candle is 4 hours. It's very nice to see what happened after the approval. We have a peak of 49, then the consolidation, the outflow, also related to Grayscale took place. But now, since quite a while, it's pretty stable and going sideways. Market capitalization, you're still on place 10, $847 billion. Gold is on 1. And the halving clock, 92 days we have to wait. According to this, it's going to take place April 17. All right, and now we come to the data. Before we do this, just have a quick look to the overall picture. I just opened here on a monthly base, so each candle is a month. The Bitcoin in the present cycle, 4 years. And we'll talk about these blue lines just now. What you see here is trading 43.18 versus live, what you see, and just move the blue line to where we are in the moment. And it's very nice to see on the big picture where we're coming from. We had the uptrend to a bull run in the top, 62, 63, in the peak 69, but more or less 63. Then the consolidation by 80%, and the bottom of 15, and the uptrend to where we are now. And what is important, and why do I show you this? Because we have a MACD underneath. MACD is a momentum indicator, and is in a way a view in the future, because the minute you have a crossover to the upside from the yellow MACD or orange MACD line to the blue controlling line, it means that the price will go up. On the other hand side, when you have a bearish crossover to the downside, as you can see here, the price will go down. Now, these crossovers take not place very often, as you can see. This is a long-term cycle indicator. And here, a couple of months ago, we had the bullish crossover to the upside. This is why we were talking for months about the start of a new bull run. On the other hand, we see the RSI underneath. We are in the moment on about 62%, which is quite healthy. 70% is overbought market, but when you go back in history, when a big bull run starts, you come in the top up to 90%, because there are virtually no sellers and only buyers. Interesting now here is this middle blue line is either resistance or support line. As you can see now, the big problem is now to jump over this about 48,000. When I go to the side, we see it's about 47, 48. Why? Historically, you see, this is chart technique, by the way, but chart technique always works. It's either support or resistance, and here it was support and the price went up. Here it was resistance and the price came down. So if we manage to get over this, and it's a resistance line over the 48, the way is free to the all-time high, which was about 62, 63. So that looks very nice, and we will keep you updated in the next video. So let's check the data for now. Fear and greed overall, crypto 64, ours is 80. So people are still very bullish when it comes to the Bitcoin, more than to the overall crypto market. Market dominance still over 50%. Yes, we were sometimes higher, but we are still over 50%. Liquidation front, we saw heavy liquidations on the long and short term. I just opened this on a daily basis. This was before the approval came for the applications for the ETF. People were betting on long and short side, got squeezed out. And since we have it, the market is quite calm. Very interesting is the second chart, Bitcoin long-short ratio. This is data from Binance, still beside Coinbase, one of the biggest exchanges. And this is interesting because we see this spike here to the upside. So everybody is long on the future market. People believe the price will go up. It's a very good indicator that there's a lot of confidence in the market. Loaded addresses, wallets, constantly going up, a little bit of consolidation, nearly 53 million. Balance on the exchanges. Well, for 2 years, a downtrend. Bear in mind, there are only 15 million in the market. 2.3 million are available on exchanges, but it looks like it's a sort of bottom situation. It's at least not going further down. By far not enough Bitcoin. When the ETF guys come in, have to buy because we sell the ETF shares. But yet, on the other hand, they will also buy OTC. But yeah, it will be interesting to see what's going to happen to the price. Hash rate is still going up. Bitcoin production cost over $20,000. And interesting is the aggregated trade volume on a global base, and this is what I just said early on. We saw a massive increase. It's more or less double after. This is on a weekly base. Every candle you see here, or every bar is a week. And we saw a massive increase. We were on the border between the red and yellow zone, and now we went straight through the yellow into the gray zone. So that doesn't mean the price goes up, but there's a lot of interest in the Bitcoin on the long and the short side. Why is this important? Because when you go back, this is the 4-year cycle, and you see, well, before the last bull run, we were also in the red zone, and then all of a sudden made boom and went out. Could be that it's going to take place this time as well. Our first quant model is not valid anymore because we said April 42, obviously we are higher now, but the second is still valid because we said halving April 17, 44, 45, and this is exactly what we see now in the moment. Fibonacci, we went straight through into the golden pocket, 61.8. Now we're on the borderline because of a consolidation taking place in the moment. But I'm pretty sure we will go back into the golden pocket. Finally, the logarithm regression model, which shows very much what the Bitcoin is. Go on this website, amend-finance.de. It's interactive, as you can see. With the mouse, you can play around, and you can go up until 2030 and get a sort of idea what could happen to the Bitcoin.
So back here in the studio after all this data, we continue with some data, but now with the short-term and middle-term expectations. Well, after such a big impact to the market, the short-term prognosis and the long-term prognosis, everything is difficult because everything is new now. But what is your feeling for the market in the close future?
Well, up until a week ago, the most important date was, as we just saw, April 17 halving, historically. But now something new happened. We have approval from this wealth management company, ETF 11, all in all. Bit hard to predict, but still I believe we will see this outflow from digital currency, as I said earlier on, because 650,000 Bitcoin is quite a number. Let's say 20% outflow. We're talking 150,000 Bitcoin, which move into the market, and obviously keeps the price low because, well, obviously, on the other hand side, up until now the market was only a sort of retail market because the institutional investors were not allowed to buy. A company was not allowed to put, according also to American regulation by law, on the balance sheet. So this is a change because now they don't buy Bitcoin, they buy shares from BlackRock or whatever, ETF shares. Hard to predict, but still I believe that there will be a compensation because new money coming in from institutional investors because the retailers are already there, maybe a few more, but up until now the market was only driven. Interestingly, when we just saw the volume up until now was very low because it was only driven by retailers. It will be interesting to see as the volume goes up because of institutional investors. Yeah. But this is something from week to week. We will talk about it because I don't know. It's a new game. Definitely it's a new game. But still I believe up until April 17, this was our initial prediction 1.5 years ago. We said 42, maybe today we say 50, maybe we say 55. But I don't think it's going to be more. But after the halving, I'm pretty sure up until the end of the year, we see the all-time high 69, and most likely we see the 100. And really, the important thing is 2025, because this is the second year from the uptrend. As I just said, we have a 4-year cycle, and here, according to our projections, and by the way, we will make completely new projections in April with the halving for the next 4 years, because our projections we just saw, most of them, they end April 17.
With the cycle.
With the cycle, because all our projections and models are based on the cycle, and which is only 4 years. So it will be interesting, because we will do a lot of data analysis since we have more data now, more than ever. And we will make a projection up until 28, 24, 28 exactly. So the thing is, what our data says today, but the peak will be probably 200 to 250,000 after 2 years. And then the price will consolidate and go down by 70–80%, like the Bitcoin always did. So this is basically what it is. And if you're interested in this data, please go on the website, amend-finance.de, because it's all interactive. You can go with your mouse, because Bitcoin follows a logarithm regression model. We know this from life. Every tree, every plant is growing like this, with saturation in the end. And it's the same with the Bitcoin. And you can go on the graph with a mouse, and you can go up until 2030. And we have a power support line, which is the green line. We have a middle line, which is the yellow line. We have a red line, which means the price is overbought. It's too high. It's the peak line, so-called. And you can go there and you can play around. It's on a daily base. It was a huge thing Alejandro did. Well, it doesn't mean that it's going to happen like this. Be careful, I mean. But it gives you a rough idea what could happen.
But all the things you said up to now is not the worst time to buy. Just to, in general,
yeah, absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely. Well, we give no financial advice.
No.
You have to know what you do. We don't tell you. Now,
but just from logic thinking,
yeah,
if the
I mean, the 43 we have in the moment, or 44, in 2 years' time, people will say, "Why didn't I buy?" Yeah, most likely.
Yeah.
But bear in mind, Bitcoin is dangerous, because Bitcoin is electricity. We have a big explosion on the sun, a sunstorm, no electricity, no Bitcoin, huh?
No mining.
No mining,
yeah.
Big problem.
So, Bitcoin is a chance, but it's also dangerous. But that's also the fun for people who like to play and like to be strategic about their investments.
There's one thing I want to say, because we get a lot of emails, and this is really important. Up until now, it was a rule to say, well, you have about 5% of your money in your portfolio, private or institutional, whatever, gold. This was up until the situation. It was not a bad idea doing this. I think the new will be 5 gold, 5 Bitcoin. So we are not talking going all in. This is stupid. But because Bitcoin is the first and only digital commodity, and this is not Udo Amend saying, this is Gary Gensler in his statement in approval for the ETF. So this is the US regulation situation, and they don't say this not knowing what they talk about. And but that doesn't mean to go all in. This is very important.
Yeah, it's still a very market in movement all the days, every time. So it's dangerous, but with a good set of data, it's all like a strategic adventure. Yeah, like you can really predict, or just trust the data, or trust your own instinct. It's about everybody at themselves. So That's it for today. We had a lot of data, a lot of information, and we will keep it coming to you next Tuesday, same time, same place, here at Bitcoin Today. Udo, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
And we meet again next week. See you there.
See you, man.